Hi you guys, welcome to our BKS stage makeup tutorial. This is really just supposed to be a helpful tool for those company dancers, Nutcracker dancers, students in the ballet 3A to 4, 5, and 6 for spring show. So this is kind of just a par for everybody across the board what to expect for stage makeup requirements. We did pick out some products that we feel like are just tried and true and highly recommended without being a crazy price range. So all these products are drugstore products. There may be like one product that you can't get at just like a Walmart or a Rite Aid. You're gonna wanna wear like a zip up shirt. You're probably gonna wanna already have your hair all set. You're gonna want to wash your hands, wash your face, moisturize if you do that, and then you'll be good to go. So we recommend the CoverGirl primer. A little goes a long way. You don't need a ton, and you'll just squeeze a little drop out on your hand, warm it up with your fingers, evening it all out through your skin, and it's really supposed to just smooth and prime and flatten everything out for a good base, especially for those long days. So again, that's the Skin Smoothing CoverGirl True Blend Base Business Primer. After my primer, I like to go in with my face foundation. So this one is the Maybelline Fit Me Dewy and Smooth, normal to dry. I have dry skin, so I like this one, but there's also, I think, a matte version. It really doesn't matter. Just make sure you find the best possible shade match for when you're in like the natural light. A little bit of this goes a long way. So you can either use your hands or use a brush. I honestly just use my fingers and just tap a little bit out on my palm. This gets messy, so be careful. And then warm it up. I usually start with like my really red zones and then push it out and really get, you know, behind my ears, down my neck, into my hairline, and just make it look as even as possible. After your liquid foundation is all set, you'll want to basically set that in with your powder foundation. It's the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation in a Powder. And I use shade Pearl, number 5, but again, just find your best shade match. And I apply this definitely with a brush. So I have like a big fluffy brush, and I kind of just tap a little bit on. It can get messy, so be careful. And then just take it up and over, all over your face. And that is your powder that you're gonna use and love. So bring this with you. You can always apply this if you ever get sweaty and shiny. In photos, my face is like shiny from maybe sweating a little bit. So this is really great to stop with that shine factor. After I have my foundation and my powder all set, I like to go in with my blush, my highlighter, and my bronzer. And we are gonna use the Milani Baked Powder Blush in shade Luminoso number 5. So it looks kind of like this. Some of the packaging may be a little bit different, but this is really pretty. I do have like a specific blush brush that I use, but feel free to reuse brushes for different things. You kind of put this on just like on the apples of your cheeks. It's basically just to give you some color, almost like where you would get like that first little bit of a sunburn in the summer. After your blush, I'm gonna jump in with this bronzer, which is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This is called shade Bronzer 6676, and it's the Muru Muru Butter Bronzer. This is a really popular bronzer. Again, I have like a special bronzer brush, but don't feel like you need to get a lot of crazy brushes. Honestly, they usually come in like a pack with like 5, and you get a highlighter brush, a bronzer brush, a face brush, and some eye brushes. So if you can find one of those are like gonna be a really great bet. Now this might feel like a lot. On the stage, it will not look like a lot. It's just gonna help define like your cheekbones and your jawline, and just help everything look lifted and sculpted, because those bright stage lights can really do a number. After your bronzer, the last thing for like your complexion is that highlighter. So we're using the Maybelline Master Chrome Metallic Highlighter. I love this highlighter. This is such a good highlighter. We're in shade Rose Gold Molten, number 50. And again, a little bit goes a long way, so it's better to start light and build if you need to. I have a specific highlighter brush, but feel free to do whatever makes sense for brushes for you. This is such a pretty highlighter. Again, I kind of like to take my products like bronzer, highlighter, blush, and put a little and then kind of tap it off like the dusties. Now highlighter kind of goes where the sun would naturally hit. Oh, that's such a pretty shade. So right kind of along this lift of your cheekbone. I like to do a little bit right here, like the center part of my chin. A little bit on my nose and down my bridge of my nose. And then a little bit like on this arc of my lips. Pretty. Sometimes even like a little bit right here. But again, you don't want those like harsh lines, so blend everything out. I'm gonna go back with just like my face powder brush and just kind of like smush it in and down and around. From there, let's go ahead and give everything a spray and a set. I love this NYX Matte Finish Setting Spray. This is a really popular and well-loved setting spray. It's still a drugstore product, but maybe a little bit more high-end for the drugstore, but it really works for long days. So give it a little shake, kind of lean back a little bit. You don't need to be like right here. And it kind of feels good. So this is what I do first for my eyes, which is my eyebrows. I use this Benefit Gimme Brow eyebrow gel. I love this stuff. So this is the only thing on the list that was more high-end. There's a travel size for 14. This is kind of the bigger one, but it is so worth it. I love, love, love this stuff. You can get it at just like an Ulta or online. If you don't want to get the Benefit version, feel free to do like the e.l.f. I think it's called like Wow Brow Gel. For your brows, you don't want to go too crazy dark, but you definitely want to shape and line your brows. It just does so much for your face. So it has this little spoolie brush and a little bit, goes a long way. It also acts as a brow gel, so it just holds all of your eyebrow hairs like in place together and shaped how you want them. Now after our eyebrows are all set, this is when you kind of go into the eyelashes, eyeshadow, eyeliner, lower mascara. So this is the fun part. I do recommend using like an eyeshadow primer first or just like a concealer. A really good one from the drugstore that we can recommend would be this e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. Now this is just gonna act as that base for your eyeshadow to stick to. And you can feel free to really kind of take this all the way up to the brow, pushing everything on with a nice hold. This is where I would start with your eyeshadow. So this is the That's Taupe eyeshadow palette. I love ColourPop. So they are definitely not a high-end brand, but you can't buy them at just the drugstore. You can get them at Ulta or online. But this palette is so nice. It has everything you need for a stage makeup look, and it's like a one-stop shop for $14, and they're just awesome. Basically, for a stage makeup eye look, you'll want to think light to dark from the inside of your eye to the outside. Underneath the brow bone should be another highlight moment where you'll go back in with your Maybelline Master Chrome Metallic Highlighter. But your eyes, you want to be careful with because you don't want to take it too dark, too far up, but you do want to have like that dimension and that lift. So I'm going to go ahead and start with just creating like that crease line with a fluffy brush like this with shade Python. So that's kind of like this one right here. Now I'm gonna just lightly tap it, and you'll see it can get a little bit dusty. So again, utilize this little tap tap method, because this is when you don't wanna mess up your complexion everywhere. So really lightly, I'm gonna start on the outside and just draw a nice little U. Little circle motions. And just blending it all the way out. So I am kind of taking it onto my lid, but just to soften any lines. Be careful not to come too far down on the outer corner. Like, you want to leave like a nice straight diagonal like this, because the goal is to open everything up and lift everything up. Cool, I like the way that looks. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the second eye, just to make sure that both eyes are equal. I'm just taking a light hand with that rainbow arc motion. Now this is stage makeup, so this isn't everyday makeup, so it's okay if we look a little bit intense. So I feel like already, with just that crease darker color, we already look so much more awake. From here, I think I'm gonna go in with just a tiny, tiny bit of that Rock Steady shade in the corner. So this is gonna be really dark. You want a tiny bit. And this is just gonna go in that outer corner crease, almost making like a little V shape to kind of make the edge for what will be my eyeliner wing. Now, if you have a darker skin tone, I'm kind of fair and kind of pale. If you have a darker skin tone, you can always take this, you know, the Python shade and the Rock Steady shade and just bump it down a little bit. You kind of want it to just be relative to your natural skin tone. Pretty. So this shade itself is quite dark, but we're gonna blend everything out. We're almost kind of starting to make that wing line. Cool. I know it looks so dark. I would never leave my house like this normally, but for stage makeup, this is just the par. This is the industry standard. Like, this is what you see, and it's not just random. This isn't just by chance. I mean, this is really to only benefit the dancer. Sometimes I almost like to use this darker eyeshadow shade as a little eyeliner. I'm getting carried away. So I'm gonna go back in with that crease brush just to blend everything. Now again, try not to go too heavy and hard going down. Think more up and out. All right, and then the third and last shade for your lids, we just did like that very dark one. We had the crease, which is the medium. And then the third one will be kind of like your lightest colors. And let's use, you could use either shade Boa or shade Pebble Beach. Shade Boa is a really pretty shade. I think we'll use maybe a little bit of both. So tapping that Boa shade onto my brush, letting the excess kind of fall off. And then this is gonna go from the inside all the way out, but just really focusing this on my eyelid. I did go back in afterwards with my highlighter, my Maybelline Master Chrome highlighter that I used on my face. And what I did with this is I just kind of accentuated under the brow bone and then in the inner corner. So I used a different brush for this, and I kind of just traced along that eyebrow arch. And then I also worked this in my inner corner, not a ton, just a little bit to open up my eye and make it appear a little bit bigger. I definitely would recommend just taking your original powder brush, and I kind of just want to make sure that I get any fallout kind of out of the way. I'm gonna could take the setting spray and just go in one more time here since I have that eye situation all figured out. And let that dry. I am using this dupe brand for the day for the wispies, the Kiss Pompadour ones. I really like those ones. I don't have any on me right now, so I'm just gonna use this kind of dupe. I always trim my lashes. So I cut from the end where the lashes are a little bit shorter. I'm gonna put my lash glue. I bought this separately. Usually the packs don't come with glue. And when you're gluing along the line of your eyelashes, you don't really have to be shy. So I'm gonna lift my chin, lean way back. I'm actually gonna try to keep my eye open when I do this. That's how I do it. And I definitely bend and mold my lashes, letting the glue dry just like a little bit before I put it on. And you guys will get into a groove with this with practice. Perfect. Now once both of my eyelashes are locked in and they feel sturdy, everything is dried, I'm gonna do my liquid black eyeliner where you can draw a nice even line, and it's just gonna trace right along the lash line where you glued that lash down along your natural lash line, and it's gonna not be really thick. You wanna just make it thin and even. And taking it all the way out to the corner of my eye. Try my best to keep it really even. I'm just kind of painting it on. I will add on the wings. And the wing doesn't need to be huge, and it should just be connecting the outside of your eye to the end of your eyebrow. So it doesn't want to be straight out. It wants to be more diagonally up and out. And I kind of think of it as like a check mark. You know, it's thicker kind of in the center and in the middle, and then it comes up to thinner. And whatever you do, make sure that the right side and the left side are equal. Length is pretty good. That's actually not bad. So be super careful when you're doing this bottom line because you don't want it to be really thick. Really gently, like little dabs along the bottom to do my bottom line. And it just really opened up my eye already. I really only take it about halfway with the little just dotting the line. And just rub any unevenness right away. I really love this Lash Sensational mascara by Maybelline. It's mostly for your lower lashes. So I like to kind of tip my mascara brush so the wand is pointing up, and then just do a little bit of a sweep. But that really does help open up the eye. Once you're happy with the way everything looks, go take your setting spray. Don't hold it too close to your face. And letting everything dry. This Rimmel Stay Matte powder, get it in your shade match. I have shade Transparent, number 1. This stuff works wonders. This is what makes your makeup stay. It makes you not appear shiny or sweaty. I really do love this. Just get a little bit of this on there and just kind of press it down into my skin, like on my T-zone and like those zones where I would tend to get maybe a little bit more oily, like the under eye. I get oily like right above my eyebrows. I don't know why. My nose, the creases of my nose. And this is good to have with you because you can use this the day of. Like, we're working hard on the stage under those bright lights, and this just gives that like nice matte finish that really comes in handy for the stage. We have here the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Pro Matte Liquid Lipstick. And this is a Super Stay lipstick. So once it dries, you almost don't even need to reapply it at all. That also means that when you're applying it, you want to be careful and kind of start with less and then slowly define the edges if you need to, because it's a little bit harder to take off once it's on. This is shade 368 Matador, and it's a red base, like true red base. It applies like a lip gloss, but it dries like a lip matte stain. So when I go in to apply this, I'm kind of just saying like a or duh, and it's causing my lips to kind of tense, but just enough so I can get a good press hold on them. Almost using my bottom lip to apply to my top lip to also get off any excess. You will get this on your teeth probably, and that's okay. You can deal with that after. You want to just be extra careful when you're doing this, like, I think they call this like a Cupid's bow on your lips, so don't have your brush like totally sopping wet here. Now before you are all set, I always take like a paper towel and just kind of bite down on the towel to take off any excess on that inner rim of your lips that will transfer to your teeth. Let this dry down before you drink your water, before you put your costume on especially, but it's a really nice long wear red lip that comes from like the correct color family. Thank you all again for being so awesome and just giving it your best shot with all of the requirements for the show. We really appreciate the hair, the makeup, the costuming, and just all the constant support and all the constant attention and detail that you guys put into these things. So we hope this helped. Again, we're just so excited for the day of. Do what you can. Don't get frustrated. Don't worry about it. It's all just a recommendation. So reach out if you have any questions. We're always here to help. Thanks.